Why hello there, Nice Tail here, bringing you a knife review of this Miguron Velona. This is the full-size one. Before I start the knife review, I would like to say that I do hope you're having a good day. I'd like to try to make that a point of saying, because, well, why wouldn't I hope people are having a good day? Hopefully, my content will not ruin their day. That's kind of what I'm hoping for here. But, let's jump into this thing with the specs. This is a pretty sizable knife. You've got slightly over 4 inches of blade to the front of this scale. 9 1/8 overall, and a bit over 5 inches of handle, which actually makes this, yeah, 9 1/8, little over 4, little over 5. Yeah, so that adds up. And it makes the ratios actually pretty solid here. Oftentimes when you get these bigger knives, you don't always see the ratios remaining quite good. Or at least not as good, but this one is an exception to that. Our comparison knives will be the full-size comparison Civivi Conspirator and the small Elementum. And yeah, this dwarfs both of them considerably. Like, it's not even a question. This is a large knife. Some could even argue that this pushes into the extra large range. But as thin as it is, with the ergonomics as it is, it's not too bulky in any particular way. It doesn't really start feeling like a huge extra large knife, right? At least not to me. But it's definitely large. It's a big knife. 100% big. Actual grip for the AA battery comparison that anybody can compare to. You have more than 2 AA batteries in your primary grip. And you have a choil in front of it. Not the biggest choil, but definitely a usable one. Well, it's not that it's not the biggest, it's just that the angle that you're sitting on, you do come close to the edge. But it's a little bit of a trigger pull kind of into this, pulling back into this flipper tab. Yeah, you can definitely make use of that choil. Good choil, tons of grip. No one, unless they have gigantic hands, that somehow have issue with that, is going to have an issue holding this knife. If anything, it's going to feel just big in your hands. Oh, I didn't do a thickness comparison. And, oh, look at that. It is thick. It's very thick. Though, again, in practice, it doesn't feel unwieldy. Which is why I hesitate to call it like an extra large, just chunky monster. Even though it is pretty chunky. Pretty chunky. So let's see how chunky. I'm guessing over 0.6 probably. Oh, just under. 0.59. So 590 thousandths. 500 thousandths is, of course, half an inch. So, yeah, decently thick. Not quite as much as I thought. I was thinking like 620, but that's fine. 141 thousandths on the blade stock. I'm guessing they're going for 140. Let's see if I can... Yeah, let's call that 140 thousandths. That's probably what they're going for. And behind the edge, despite that thickness, is not all that thick. In fact, it is 10 thousandths behind the edge. Really? Yeah, 10, 11 thousandths behind the edge. Alright, then. Very slicey. Very slicey. And I don't know if you happen to see my previous review of the Azusa Blade Works, which I'm almost certain is made by Miguron. While that knife did not come that sharp, this knife, the actual Miguron knife, did in fact come quite sharp. It's not like super bitey. In fact, it's a slightly almost polished kind of. You can see the reflection, the amount of reflection you're getting kind of through the camera. See that? It's almost polished. This is how it came. It has like the very apex has a bit of a polish on it, so it's not like the bitiest, but it's quite sharp, and it's thin, and it cuts quite well. Decent amount of room to drop down, gets nice and thin. Very, very good. Moving on to a hardware check, we have a T8 pivot, T8 body, and I believe T8 pocket clip. T8 all the way around. Love to see it. Miguron does do that quite a bit. They have, I will say, Miguron, while they still flub on certain things, or they don't take certain things into account, I think sometimes, when they hit good, because they do have listened and they have adjusted things. They definitely weren't always using T8s, which they seem to predominantly use now. They've made some smart adjustments, and certain aspects of their quality are very, very good, especially for the price, considering this is a budget knife. They make more premium knives, which I don't have a lot of experience with. I wouldn't mind checking out some of their premium knives, but I will say this one, as a budget knife, is definitely hitting well above its price point and competitors, most of them at least. 5.28 ounces. Yeah, it's not super light, but you're dealing with over 4 inches of blade. It wasn't going to be light. There is a considerable amount of milling out inside this thing for weight reduction, but it's got decently thick liners, decently thick G10, and it's a pretty big blade and overall knife. It was never going to be light, but for the size of it, 5.28 ounces is pretty good. At least for me. I'm not complaining. I 100% carried this thing. Alright. Now that we're done with specs, just a quick look. 14C28N on the blade steel. Good. Miguron has, from what I've heard, I've obviously not done too much experience with sharpening it, but I've heard that they have... They started out not having the greatest heat treats, but they've upped their game, and they use good steels. Some of their heat treats on some budget steels and stuff are pretty solid, from what I've heard. So, 14C28N is a good budget steel. Long, drop point, almost spear point. Really, really close to spear point, actually. Blade shape. Big fuller running down. Gray PVD over everything. Looks really good, actually. Nice and thin, but you've got a little bit of extra thickness up at the tip where it gets a little bit thicker. Very good there. Plunge grind is excellent. Stops right in the middle of the choil. The stop pin is up here behind the flipper tab, so even if it wasn't excellent, you would have no problem whatsoever. The entire, well, basically any part of the blade spine or that isn't the edge is crowned. Very nice rounding, very comfortable. It helps making this choil even more comfortable, honestly. Flipper tab sits proud. It doesn't sit maybe high over the pivot, but it sits pretty even with it, and it's tall enough and kind of got a good enough leverage point that, yeah, it shoots rockets forward really, really, really well. Nice detent, nice snap, and the bearings, again, Miguron's action, again, from the previous review. Yeah, they use, whatever they do with their bearings, they use good bearings. They are typically very smooth from what I've experienced, and I don't feel them a lot. They're really good. They're quite good bearings, and the action on this for a budget knife is excellent. Good lockup. Lock bar is sitting, protruding quite a bit. I don't like jimping on the lock bar, but this one is soft enough and not like bumpy enough on the external rim of it that it works fine. Tons of access. Just great lock bar all around. This G10 is this sort of I don't even know what to call this pattern, but it's G10. This is G10, multi-layered G10. It is very smooth. There are chamfers on it that, while not the most rounded chamfers, are super comfortable because they're pretty wide chamfers, so you get a good transition, so it's not really a problem. You're not dealing with something that's hard or anything like that. It is flat G10, which is fine. I wouldn't mind seeing a contoured version of this if they just sort of cut down or on the edges and contoured. I want to see what that would be like, but that's just personal me wanting to see something that's not really a critique of the knife. It's not hurting anything. It still functions and works great. The entire line, the liners do shadow box the external scales. Shadow box? Is that the right term? I don't even know. But they protrude out from underneath the scales. I do think they could protrude a little less out from underneath the scales on the bottom, just to give you, because you end up pushing into that, and it's not uncomfortable. It's quite comfortable, in fact. So, I mean, it's not a problem. Just that's, again, personal preference. I'm going to repeat it again. There's really very little to nothing wrong with this knife. No branding or billboarding anywhere on the blade. Miguron's logo, which is actually pretty nice and pretty simple, right here on the pivot. Reversible pocket clip, which this pocket clip is true to Miguron's pocket clips. I wouldn't mind seeing maybe a little less extended beyond the pinch point, so like maybe have it a little bit, have it a higher rise angle, because it can be a little bit tricky to get some thicker stuff in there. Or maybe just a shorter stick off the front of that rise. I don't know. But overall, it works good. It's got good flex, good retention. It's a nice titanium pocket clip, where steel liners, of course. And titanium pocket clip on a budget knife, which is always nice to see. Pocket clip is a popsicle stick, and it works well, for the most part. Reversible lanyard post is there, thick. Definitely, definitely a lot of stuff to put through. But it's there, and it doesn't seem to be being prioritized over the pocket clip at all, especially in comfort or anything like that. It's just an extra thing that they had room for, so I guess they decided why not, right? There is a little bit of jimping back here and back here on the, well, I guess that's the frame. And yeah, it does actually provide a tiny, tiny bit of traction. Probably more if you have gloves or something, but the frame itself is crowned, so all the way along it's rounded, which makes it extra comfortable. And probably, if it wasn't, I would probably have issues with it protruding as much as it does. But because they took the time to crown that frame, it kind of alleviates any potential problems. I don't know what the point of this jimping here back here is, but I don't know. Okay, fair enough. I guess if you're driving this into something, you might get some use out of this jimping, I guess. Full G10 backspacer, very nice. Just a solid black one, that's fine. Yeah. Honestly, this is just a great knife. This is a great knife if you're okay with having something big. Yeah, this is $50. I got this for $50. This is a wonderful knife for $50. It just is. You've got the flipper, got the reverse flick off the fuller, good detent, good execution. It is maybe it might just be the light playing tricks on me. Maybe a tiny bit, tiniest hair off center. I'm not even convinced it is. There's no play. Yeah. This is a good knife. This is an excellent, large pocket knife, and I'm quite happy with this one. And that's a dog. I knew he'd make his presence known. He always does. I was kind of waiting for it, I'll be honest with you. But yeah, the Miguron Velona here is really good. Really good. You just have to be okay with, pocketing something that's small. Pocket sword, basically. It's big. But if you're okay with that, the ergos are great. Super comfortable in the hand. Multiple grip positions. Great blade shape. Good access to the tip. Just overall good. So, he says he needs attention. So, I'm going to end things here and give my thumbs up on this one. This one is good all day. Yes, very recommendable. Thanks for watching. Consider liking and subscribing if you would. Share videos. Maybe leave comments about what I can do better. All that jazz. And have a great day. See you later.